Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the update to the GT Edition Extreme Z area. So the GT Edition Extreme Z area originally came out with Giru, an awakening for the Int Giru, and it seems like they've updated it with two brand new Extreme Z awakenings, one for the Tech Super Saiyan Goku GT and the other one for the Strength Hyper Meta-Rilldo. I'm pretty excited for the Rildo. I actually think it's about time we got a new one, and hopefully he's a good free-to-play option. So the first stage is for Giru. I'll leave a link to that event in the top right hand corner. But the second stage deals with obviously the Rildo, and the third stage deals with the Goku. So basically, essentially the character list is quite limited. I will only be using free-to-play options to build out my team. You will be able to manage it with free-to-play units, so you don't need to panic too much. If you don't have units that can't fit in there, you can do the whole thing with free-to-play units. It's all fairly straightforward. Obviously with two new stages comes two new difficulties and brings with it 4 new Dragon Stones. Obviously, as a reminder, the first stage drops silver and bronze medals, and the second stage drops gold and rainbow medals. You need to go to the path on the left in the first difficulty for your bronze, and to the right for your silver, and vice versa. In the second difficulty, you need to go to the left for gold and the right for rainbow. In terms of the unit Extreme Z Awakenings, so they recently got their Dokkan Awakenings, but they also get their Extreme Z Awakenings. Rildo seems pretty interesting. He's a GT Boss's category attack support, while also being a unit that's generally better on a GT Boss's team. Clearly designed to kind of bring some kind of synergy to that team. And then we also have, alongside him, we have the Tech Goku. Goku himself also looks pretty interesting, kind of a unit that's a lot more heavily focused on facing GT bosses, but a pretty interesting option nonetheless. And then obviously Giru, who was from the event when it first came out. Now to get Goku and Rildo is actually a bit of a process. They come from the DB Story event for the Black Star Dragon Balls, and you can find them in this event. Goku drops from stage 2 and Rildo drops from stage 9. The difficulty is actually in the medals. You need to farm a lot of medals because Goku and Rildo start as SR units. You need to not only Z awaken them but Dokkan awaken them to open up their hidden potential paths. Not only that, but you need to farm the currency because the medals, not only for the first Dokkan awakening but for the second TUR awakening, all cost Apple medals. You have to buy all of them from the Bubba shop. So there's quite a bit of farming involved. You have to basically Dokkan awaken the equivalent of 6 General Rildos, one copy obviously being to SA10 and a second copy being to SA5 for his eventual EZA. But you're going to need to Dokkan awaken each individual one. So yeah, it's a pretty intensive grind. I'd probably say they usually do away with these kind of grinds, but it seems like they left it in here for the GT units. So yeah, usually they alter these a little bit, give you the ability to farm the SSR directly or give you the ability to get the medals. They did add a boost to the event, and getting the medals is not so hard. You do also have time to get the medals, you don't need to get it straight away. I will leave a link to the event in the top right hand corner as well if you are needing assistance there. Obviously it should hopefully help you out. As you can see, I'm Dokkan awakening Goku. I will be taking on the stages without doing their hidden potential systems, and I will notify you when I do fill in their hidden potential systems as well. But if you are wondering, Goku is a additional build, whereas Rildo is a crit build. But you can kind of do a split on both. It doesn't really matter too much. So now that we've obviously got our Rildo and our Goku, we farmed our Black Star Dragon Ball event, we're now ready to build our team and to take on the first stage. Of course, as we know, we have limited options, so we need to complete the first stage and then we can obviously take on the second one. As always, I suggest completing each stage up to the point of awakening the unit. So For example, if you are doing the very first stage, which obviously requires us to use Goku, I highly suggest that you take on the stage and continue to farm medals until you can EZA the unit for that stage to level 130. Then you can move on to the next one. The extra stats, the change in leader skill, all of these things are going to help you a lot in building your team and to have an easier time. There's no point to make your secondary stage runs to be more difficult than your initial ones. Now, in terms of free-to-play options, there's not a lot of really great ones. We do have obviously the Rildo, the Goku themselves. We have the Goku from the Omega Shenron raid, and we have the Vegeta with the Blitzwave Vegeta. We also have Giru, thankfully, and we have a Frieza who I think is pretty good, who you can pick up from the Super 17 event. So yeah, that's it. Obviously there's a chance for question marks. As you guys know, question marks will give you duplicate medals. And as always, I suggest alternating between your paths. So if you are starting the event, go to the left hand sided path and then go to the right hand sided path for the next run. This means that if you do pick up a question mark, you're not fully stocked up on bronze or silver or gold or rainbow medals, and you'll be able to take advantage of that question mark. You should get on average 1 question mark for every kind of round. So for example, it would take you usually 6 attempts, 3 on each side, to get all these silver and bronze medals. You should usually get at least 1 question mark during this period, knocking you down to 5 attempts. Similarly, when you are farming the gold and rainbow medals, you should realistically get a question mark there, which will take that from 6 attempts, 3 on each side, all the way down to 5 attempts. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the question marks. Obviously, if you guys need to just have a little bit of a recap, it takes in total 15 bronze medals, 40 silver medals, 30 gold and 30 rainbow medals to fully extreme Z awaken a unit. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to keep track of your medals. Like I say, it technically works out to 3 on each side, and so you're going to need to obviously focus on that in total. Obviously it takes quite a bit. It takes 72 stamina to complete the first round of stages for 1 character, and then for the second round of stages it takes 150 stamina. So in total it takes around 225 to fully extreme Z awaken a unit, not factoring in the question marks that one might get while obviously actively trying to use the unit. So that is pretty much, like I said, pretty much everything you need to know. Obviously this was the first round, so the first of the 2 new stages. This was stage 3, and yeah, it wasn't too difficult. Like I said, we're using a fully free-to-play team, so we are obviously, you know, I want to say, using something everyone can use. Whether you farm the units or not is up to you, but you should be able to get all of these units, whether with portal keys or through the current events. So it does mean that you do have an option, but if you can use summonable units, I do always suggest that you pull or use these summonable units. It is just going to make your life overall far easier. So yeah, I would say it's all pretty good. So overall, I think the EZAs look interesting. We're going to discuss them now for a little bit. So Goku obviously has attack and defense of 59%, with an additional attack and defense of 14% per key sphere obtained. He has an additional attack and defense of 59% with 3 or more key spheres obtained, and a high chance of performing a critical hit with 5 or more key spheres obtained. For the first 7 turns from the start of the turn, he will have attack and defense of 59% when performing a super attack, and then he will also randomly change a key sphere of a certain type to rainbow key spheres when he is facing a GT boss's enemy. Overall, Goku will have a 246% boost with 3 or more key spheres and an additional 22% per attack or attack and defense per key sphere obtained after you have obviously gained all of his bonuses. It's pretty decent. That, along with a 50% chance to crit, is pretty good. Notably, I think he definitely could raise raise defense, even just for one turn on his super. I feel like that would have not solved or made him OP, but I think would have made him far more usable as a unit. Yeah, I think that would have made him far more manageable as a unit overall. So yeah, obviously Goku pretty solid. What you're going to see here is I am just going to quickly skip ahead, little time skip to where I've awakened Goku and Rildo. You'll also notice that I have placed hidden potential orbs in them as well. I highly suggest this because it will give you extra stats. If you don't want to place orbs, then try placing gear. Even just life gear, even just 500 life, which a lot of people don't use, 500 HP, will help you out because it's just going to give you a little bit more HP to play with. Stick a 500 HP equipment on all of your units, and you have, quite a substantial amount more health to play with, which I think a lot of people kind of underestimate, especially when you're running these teams that have very low health pools and are obviously running these events. And just a reminder before we talk about Rildo that when you're on the second difficulty, gold medals are on the left hand side and rainbow medals are on the right hand side. And of course you want to make sure that you get each side 3 times, not factoring in a question mark. Now, of course, Goku looks pretty decent, but Rildo also looks relatively interesting. He raises attack and defense for 1 turn, which is pretty good. And he lowers the enemy's attack, which is also pretty solid. He has attack and defense of 80%, with an additional attack and defense of 80% per GT Bosses category unit on the team. So he gets 20% per GT Bosses unit, all the way up to 80% in total. He has an additional attack and defense of 80% when performing a super attack, and he will gain an additional key +2 and attack of 40% when facing only one enemy. So basically, if you are facing a singular enemy and you have only a GT Bosses category team, you will have 440% attack and 368% defense. Not only that, but he also provides 40% attack support to GT Bosses units and 2 key, which overall is actually pretty good. Link set wise, he's got a pretty nice link set actually for a free play unit. He's got GT, obviously a very common link amongst GT units. Sharing the Limit, a free to play link. Loyalty, which is a good link. Thirst for Conquest, very strong link. Auto Regeneration, also a decent link. And Shocking Speed. And overall he's on Artificial Life Forms, Terrifying Conquerors, and GT Bosses. I think GT Bosses probably being the most notable of the categories that he's on, because obviously that's where he gets his full bonus and his full benefit. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of Rildo. I think overall he's a pretty fun and interesting looking unit. I think he's going to help his team a lot more than Goku does. If I can speak plainly, I think Rildo, GT Bosses is not a diverse category at this moment in time, and it lacks a lot. It lacks a lot. It's got some premier units. Physical Omega Shenron's great. It's got the Tech Sin Shenron, who's also great alongside him. It's got the Legion of Shadow Dragons unit, which is a fantastic unit. It's got Super 17, who's maybe aged a little bit, but generally speaking, he's pretty solid. So Rildo, I think, helps it out a lot. Like Rildo being a support, Rildo being a kind of super solid unit that provides a lot to the table. He can pair up well with the Strength Rildo. They share some decent links between the two of them. Thirst for Conquest, GT. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult. Like I said, it's a little bit difficult to say. But I think Rildo overall is a pretty nice unit. Like I say, he can bring some decent synergy to the GT Bosses team, and I think that makes him immediately more interesting. Whether it's also difficult to see because they don't have a 200% lead, whereas Goku can essentially already function with a 200% lead. So Goku's already kind of like got a lot of tools at his equipment to kind of be a lot better. With the whole GT Heroes, Kamehameha kind of lead coverage, or the Bond of Friendship GT Heroes coverage. He's got a lot more going on in terms of accessibility of options. Whereas Rildo, I think the max lead he's got is Super 17, which I think is 150%. So yeah, it is a lot more difficult, I think, for Rildo to shine, but I think his kit looks pretty good. I think he'll age well. I think as GT Bosses grows, he'll continue to be a very interesting free-to-play component that you can use for those stages. So yeah, pretty good stuff. In terms of the rest, I think that's pretty much it. Obviously there are some missions, just completing the stages 10 times. But yeah, there's nothing else really more for me to tell you guys. So I hope you have a good time. I hope this video helped you kind of figure out what you needed to do and to decide whether you wanted to invest in them. Now, that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.